of the closing doors, please.
And welcome in, guys, to another great Mets post-game stream here. As the New York Mets, they do it once again, guys. They find a new, bigger, awful way to lose a baseball game. You know, we think that every time they lose a game that we have seen it all. Really, truly, we do. And during this streak of baseball that the Mets have been riding lately, that is just never the case. They always find a way to outdo themselves, to embarrass themselves even more, even harder than they did in the late loss before this one, as the Mets blow multiple leads to the Seattle Mariners. They give up 11 runs to them. They blow a 2-1 lead. They blow a 3-2 lead. They blow a 6-4 lead. And in the end, cough up 16 hits, 11 runs, 9 doubles to the Seattle Mariners, plus 2 home runs on top of it, as the bullpen, the vaunted super bullpen that all of the opposing scouts raved about the Mets trade deadline, absolutely spits the bit here tonight. And it was all the guys that we acquired at the deadline. You had Trevor Rogers come in the 7th and give up a run, and you knew as soon as that happened, you knew as soon as Rogers came in and gave up that run to make it 6-5, the Mets were not going to win this game. They were not going to score another run on offense, and you knew that they were going to go down meekly. And that almost exactly on script, but in any case, it's Ryan Helsley coming in the 7th inning on just less than 24 hours notice from where he blew last night's game to the Braves in the 8th, and he does what he has done best so far in a Mets uniform, and that is blow absolute chunks. Gives up the first 2 runs of what became a 5-run 7th inning for the Mariners, as they punch back and punch back and punch back all night long, and the Mets have another loss. Their 14th loss in their last 16 games. In 14 of those losses, the Mets have blown a lead in 9 of them. And the Mets are just barely able to hold on to a half-game lead in the final wild card spot, thanks to Milwaukee, who fell down 7-0 against the Reds tonight and still ended up coming back to win that game handily, putting double-digit runs on the board themselves. Guys, this Mets team, it's not a playoff team. I said it yesterday. I'll say it again. This is not a playoff team. And as you guys can notice here to my left or to my right, whatever it go, however they do it, this is not the highlights, but this is exactly what I have said to you guys many times, and I haven't been able to exactly properly describe what I was talking about. But this right here, this is the 2025 New York Mets. It is impossible for this team to do all 3 facets of the game at the same time. You get some hitting. Well, now the starting pitching isn't going to work. All right, let's turn the starting pitching on. Well, then the bullpen doesn't work. All right, turn the bullpen on. Well, now the hitting's not going to hit. This team cannot find a way to hit enough to score runs, to get quality starting pitching from this rotation, and to get strong enough work out of their bullpen to hold the lead if they actually get one. And it has turned into an absolute dumpster fire where they are clinging to a half-game lead for the final wild card spot over the Cincinnati Reds. Guys, this is embarrassing. I can't believe this is where we are. It doesn't feel like the Mets are ever going to win another game again. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Thanks so much. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. Daily Mets content, post-game recap after every single Mets game. Please leave this video a like as well. Really appreciate that. Goes a long way toward helping me out. Let me go to the chat real quick. Mark, total shit show. Yep, that is an understatement, my man Mark. This is beyond any type of bad baseball I've seen from the Mets. I mean, even the Mets, when they were in the doldrums in that 2009 to 2014 era, where Terry Collins was taking over for Jerry Manuel and they were cutting the cost of the team because the Wilpons got caught up in the Ponzi scheme with Bernie Madoff, even those teams, I don't think ever performed as poorly as this team has been. And a lot of it comes with the expectations. Granted, we went into those seasons in the early 2010s not expecting a whole lot from those teams, right? But those teams probably never lost 14 of 16 games. Those teams probably didn't blow leads in 9 of those games. Those teams did not have the top payroll in all of baseball. This is just an unbelievable shit show, Mark, 100%. Christopher T says, Stearns came here to ensure the Brewers win it all. Could you imagine? He's a mole. He is a working mole. David Stearns is here to simply sabotage the Mets, also while making sure that the Brewers finally can win their first World Series. I'm convinced. I think you might be on it there, Christopher. That is a great point. Joe says, why does Mendy keep using Helsley? Well, that is a very good question, because you could see at the bottom of my little graphic here, Ryan Helsley so far has a 5.46 ERA in 6 games since joining the Mets. His first appearance was solid. I don't remember who that was against. I think maybe it was San Francisco. That sounds about right. And ever since then, the next 4 after that have been horrific. Or next 5, Ryan Helsley has been a disaster. He's been a disaster. And you know what? I don't mind going back to him tonight despite blowing yesterday's game in the 8th inning. I don't mind letting a guy try to get right back on the horse, especially a guy like Helsley that has a resume as being one of the top late inning relievers in the game. But wow, what else can you say? The dude has just been awful for this team. Awful. He blew yesterday. He blew today. You also got to give a little bit of blame to Rogers as well, who has also quietly given up runs in most of his outings recently as well. I mean, the only guy that has been really worth a damn that we acquired for this super bullpen has been Gregory Soto, and we hardly ever see the guy. Those weren't his lanes, so I can't blame them for necessarily not putting him in. I guess you could have possibly put Soto in the 7th inning when Rogers was in there, the 6th inning when Rogers was in there. I guess that would have been an opportunity. I don't recall the lefty-righty matchups for that inning, but I mean, Helsley's just not getting the job done. Rogers hasn't been much better. I mean, like I said, this graphic right here is a perfect explanation of how this team has been going for 2 months now, where they cannot get all of these things working at the same time. They cannot get hitting and going at the same time as starting pitching. And if they do, well, then the bullpen blows a game like today. And then you don't get good starts tomorrow or the day after, and then the hitting stops hitting. It is just unbelievable. And again, I say it like I said many times in last night's stream, that is just the sign of a bad baseball team, guys. That is just the sign of a bad team. You know how good teams find ways to win? Bad teams find ways to lose, and it comes from all the different cast of characters. Just like winning, it requires all different guys on your roster to help you win ball games. Guess what? The same for losing. It requires everybody on your roster just about to contribute to losses, and that is how the last 2 weeks has gone for this team. Let me go back to the chat here. Sandman Games OMG to SMH. Ugh, it is just so bad. It is so awful, man. I can't believe what we're doing here. You have to trademark that, Sandman Games OMG to SMH 100%. It's just insane how bad it has been. He says, hi, Tony the Legend. You're the legend, Sandman. Mookie can't even be in the room for this one. He is so disgusted with this team. In the middle of the 7th inning, my dog Mookie just picked up, walked out, and went into the bedroom. He said, I'm done. I can't take it anymore. So I don't blame him. I would do the same if I could, if I was him. Griffin says, hi, I'm Sub. What's up, Griffin? Appreciate you tuning in, my man. Thanks so much. He says, biggest supporter. Thank you. I appreciate that, Griffin. Thank you, my man. How'd you find me? Was it from TikTok or was it here on YouTube? I'm not sure, but appreciate you very much, Griffin, for tuning in. What do you guys think? Are the Mets making the playoffs in 2025? Because I said it yesterday, and I am not moved. I still don't think they are. I just don't believe this team is going to find it in them and turn it around. If it hasn't happened yet, when is it going to happen? Guys, we are nearly just 4 40 games left in the season. The schedule does not get any easier. We had a chance to potentially sweep the Braves, or at least 2 out of 3 versus a beaten and battered Atlanta team, and they couldn't even do that. They lose that series. You come out today, you hold 3 separate leads, you give up 2 of them the immediate half inning, and then you have your bullpen implode to the tune of 5 runs in the 7th and go home licking your wounds. I'm sorry, but if the turnaround hasn't happened yet, then I don't know when it will. And honestly, I don't think it will happen for this team in 2025. Let me go back to the chat here. Edward Christian Aqua Mets. Best case scenario is a first round exit. If the bats are popping, the pitchers throwing meatballs. If the pitchers hold, the offense is non-existent. It's done. It's supposed to be a Mets resurgent season. Look, this was supposed to be another year under Stearns and Cohen. It was supposed to be the first year of Juan Soto, Pete Alonso coming back, potentially for his swan song, obviously, with him having the player option for next year. But we were thinking that we would take a step forward after such a great run in the 2024 season. You would think that they might be able to put some of that juice together for this year, but it looks like it fizzled out in May, and they have not been able to conjure up anymore. This is just insane how bad it is right now. Salmon Games, only fitting we play in Flushing, Queens, because the Mets are sinking in the toilet, swirling around and around they go. The New York Mets are an absolute toilet right now. 100% Salmon Games. Christopher T says Stearns is a Brewers infiltrator. Oh my gosh, he really could be. Griffin says I lost hope in our team. I mean, honestly, I will always watch the Mets. I will never not watch the Mets, but right now, guys, I have no hope. I have zero faith that this team is going to turn it around based on what I have seen from this team. I am right there with you, Griffin, man. Let's see. I'm sorry, this chat sometimes just gets away from me. Edward Christian Aquan, the only good takes about the day is Lindor's hitting right now. Maybe he can rally the team for the next 2 games. Second is the young arms are coming in. Mets arms right now is non-existent. Still LGM. LGM today, tomorrow, and forever, guys. But this is just insane, man. It's just insane. You don't get good starting pitching. Oh, you got enough runs to score, but you couldn't hold the lead because then the bullpen was bad. And then the other day, it's because you can't hit enough. And then it was the starting pitching is bad, but the bullpen was good, and we lose a close one. I mean, you just find new ways to lose. It is just so bad. Christopher T says Stearns is the Brewers infiltrator. Yes, like I agree with you. D-Rail says this season is over. Fire Mendoza and Stearns. I am not going to do that. I have been steadfast about I am not firing Mendoza and Stearns. I would like for this team, this organization, to have some stability finally for the first time seemingly in their 60, 70 year existence, or at least for one of the first times in my lifetime, born in 94, right? I would like to let them have a little bit more time, but I guarantee you this, if the Mets don't make the playoffs this year, Carlos Mendoza is beginning 2026 on a burning red hot seat, 100%. I don't feel that same way about Stearns, especially because let's see what he does in the offseason. I know he's going to have some heavy lifting to do, and let's see what some of the production that we get from the starters, or I'm sorry, the young guys that include starters beginning tomorrow in the form of Nolan McLean. But there is going to be a burning red hot seat under Carlos Mendoza entering 2026 if the Mets do not make the playoffs this year. And if they get off to a bad start, I would not be surprised to see Mendy canned by May. But I am not firing Carlos Mendoza right now, just after he led this team to Game 6 of the National League Championship Series. And based on some of the good things we've seen this year, not a lot, but some of the good things that we have seen from him and from the team this year. But I understand your frustration, D-Rails, 100%. And I am running out of patience myself just based on his answers alone. They have been just the same recycled garbage of I believe in these guys and we got to just be better and blah, 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 blah. I can't hear that anymore. I need you to call these guys out. I need there to be a change that we are aware of as fans, because this is unacceptable. So I get the frustration from you, D-Rose. Appreciate you tuning in, my man. Robert Lupinacci, fire Mendoza. He looks lost. I just said what I said, but I understand, guys. I get it. A lot of Mets fans are fed up. I'm fed up. I am more, as I have said before, at the moment of apathy that I've almost just tuned out. Like, I will never not tune out. I will be here for you guys with my post-game streams, and I will watch these games, but I am almost emotionally checked out with this team. Don't get me wrong, I was pissed about tonight's game, but I have been able to compartmentalize it at this point and be able to accept that maybe this just isn't a very good team, because that is what I have seen from them, at least now for the last 2 months. Feels like a good enough sample size that we can say they're pretty bad. If it walks like a duck, if it quacks like a duck, and it looks like a duck, it's probably the New York Mets. So that's just what I think about it all. Abs. God, I am losing track here, guys. I need to get some glasses. I need to use some of those Mookie Bone funds and put them toward glasses. D-Rail says leadership matters. It does. It does 100%. I am with you guys on that, but it also matters to have some stability as well. And I'm not sure about all the ins and outs of how Mendy manages this team behind the scenes, but I think he does a really solid job of being even keel. But now I think maybe a bit to his detriment. I would like to see Carlos Mendoza go and make some statements to the media, say something to try and get this team's attention, because this is just unbelievable. This is just insane, and I don't know what the problem is. That's the worst thing about it. And you heard Ron Darling say it in the booth here tonight, basically saying, there were years in the past where we could pinpoint exactly the weakness of a Mets team, right? So like we could say in 2015, for example, amazing, stellar starting pitching, but obviously the lineup was as weak as any you've ever seen. So what do? Go out and get Yoenis Cespedes, Kelly Johnson, Juan Uribe, call up Michael Conforto, right? The Mets acquired a lot of bullpen help at the deadline, but that wasn't the only issue. It is just like this thing right here says. One day, it's the lineup not hitting enough. The next day, it's the starting pitching not giving you any length and turning in a horrible start, or spitting out a 6-0 lead like David Peterson did on Wednesday. Or in the case of tonight, it's the bullpen. And last night, it's the bullpen. So it's almost impossible to pinpoint what exactly is wrong with this team right now. And that is a huge issue to me, and that is why they keep losing games, because it is a new culprit on a night in and night out basis. Back to the chat here. Let's see. Robert Lupinacci wants him fired. I don't know, man. I think I missed one up here. Did I? No, I don't think I did. Absol, what's up, my man? He says, another month and a half of this torture called Mets baseball. I wish the season would end already. Hey, if the season ended today, the Mets would actually be in a playoff spot. So I'm okay with that. But, man, we would get the doors blown off of us in a playoff game. I don't even care who it would be. Maybe San Diego. I guess it would be San Diego. They're probably the top wildcard team right now. We would get our tits lit by the Padres. We already did in San Diego earlier this month. The Mets would have no chance, but they are still in a playoff spot at the moment, clinging to that half-game lead. Man, Cincinnati blowing a 7-0 lead over Milwaukee, who now have won 13 straight games. What the actual hell? I am sorry. I don't get it. I think they are peaking early, if you ask me. The Brewers are, but we'll see. We'll see. They are clearly the best team in baseball at the moment, but I think they might be peaking a little bit early. On the other side of things with the Mets, I don't see them having another peak. I think they peaked already back in May when they were 23 games over 500. They are 6 games over 500 now. How could this happen? How? I'm sorry. I've never seen anything like it. Over the last 2 months, this has just been one of the more unwatchable stretches of Mets baseball that I've seen in my entire lifetime. Danny Caps can't take this crap anymore. I am right there with you. I am so sick of this crap, man. I just honestly, JETS, bring me to football season. We know that will only last through October, through Halloween, and then that season will be over as well. But then luckily we'll have the Knicks to carry us, who will then obviously take us to the semifinals in the Eastern Conference and lose another painful loss to an inferior team like they always do. And that'll be the rinse, wash, repeat of being a New York sports fan. Oh, isn't it fun, guys? Aren't you so glad you all got into sports? I know I am. Jeez, just awful times right now. Edward Christian Aquan says, if the Mets season is really over, I hope they clean up all the coaching staffs, hitting and pitching coach gone, and Mendoza needs to be held accountable and get an effing ace next season. They have to get an ace next season. I don't care that Jonah Tong might be coming up next year. I don't care if Nolan McLean makes 5 starts here over the last month and a half and pitches to a 1.50 ERA. The Mets need a bona fide veteran ace that they can stick into this rotation before the 2026 season starts. Do not try and tell me Nolan McLean had a really good final month and a half and Brandon Sproat came up and made 2 really good starts and Jonah Tong is now the top pitching prospect in baseball. I don't want to hear it. I want a bona fide, proven ace to put at the top of this rotation, because trying to pretend like 2.5 good months of Sean Manaea last year because of his arm slot angle was going to miraculously become our ace in 2025 has completely backfired on them. Trying to turn Frankie Montas into this year's Luis Severino has completely backfired on them. And what a sick joke. We get to see Frankie Montas in the game here, pitching in mop-up duty, giving up another run. Unbelievable, just the torture that we are going through, right? But this team needs that ace 100%. I am with you, Edward Christian Aquan. There was a lot of work to do as far as the coaching staff. 100% out with Eric Chavez and Jeremy Barnes. Hefner's done a lot of good, but honestly, I need to kind of get a better understanding of how involved he is with this pitching lab, which we don't really hear a whole lot about anymore. As soon as the Mets pitchers start performing very well, we all stop talking about the pitching lab, right? So there has definitely got to be a cleanse, or at least a real close look evaluation of this coaching staff heading into 2026. Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. Let's see what happens. This team could still win the World Series, which is insane, but they're not. We gotta look at everything is on the table there for sure. Also says, what was up with Juan Soto lollygagging after that fly ball in the 7th inning? He should have had that. He continuously shows his laziness in the outfield. It's pathetic. Look, Soto is who he is. This is the kind of player he is. He is not sprinting full speed unless he knows he can get to a ball, and that's just what you have to live with, and you will hopefully get enough with the bat to make up for it. But this is just who Juan Soto is. I just made a video today saying that, let's be honest, Juan Soto's first season in Queens has been disappointing, and it was mixed results. Some people saying they totally agree with me. Some people saying that I'm an idiot, and look at his OPS. Okay, well, look at his OPS with runners in scoring position. Look at his OPS with runners on base. With runners on base, it's 647. With runners in scoring position, it's 634. So he has been a disappointment in the big moments, and that was the entire point of that short video that I put out here today on YouTube. So I'm sorry. You even see it there in the 9th inning. Goes down swinging. It seems anytime the Mets are trailing and we need something out of Juan Soto, he has failed to come through. But he can hit a solo homer back-to-back after Francisco Lindor just gave the Mets the lead. That's no problem. Another solo for Soto, right? I mean, it's just crazy. D-Rails, all love. I love you, D-Rails. You're my man. You've been here since the beginning. You know what's up. Great Mets fan for sure. Very knowledgeable. Omar Nunez says, Mendoza does not understand momentum. After the debacle from last night and a 2-run lead, he gives the keys to Helsley again. Once he gives up the lead, the momentum was gone. Game over, season over. The season is over, in my opinion. Like I've said, guys, I do not see this team making the playoffs. It is just insane. Insane. I mean, you can watch, you can read this team like a book. They are going to fold when the times get tough. Surprised that they even came back as many times as they did after blowing as many leads as they did in the beginning of this game. So to see them stake to a 6-4 lead, I was like, okay, well, Bullpen better hold this one tonight, because they are not going to score many more runs. They do not have another comeback in them. Francisco Alvarez very nearly making this very interesting with his 3-run shot there, but what do you know? The Mariners find a way to go on to the next guy in their bullpen, and he can get the job done. Not the case for the Mets here tonight, as it goes Helsley to Raley, who both equally vomit all over themselves, and then to Frankie Montas in his Mets debut appearance as a reliever, and gives up another run to just put it even further out of reach. Guys, this team is cooked. They are dead. Guys, sound off in the chat. Will the Mets make the playoffs in 2025? Really appreciate y'all tuning in. Be sure to leave this video a like. If you haven't done that already, go ahead and do that right now. Also, guys, if you do want to call into the show, I am going to start taking calls to Discord here pretty shortly. Just go to the link for that in the description of this video, and I will pop you in when we are ready to get some calls. We had some good ones last night, so I will be doing that here very shortly. But first, let me get through the rest of this chat. D Legend says yes, Omar, or he agrees with Omar. He says for sure, Helsley, this has been awful. Had the great debut, and that was about it, man. But this whole team is just a mess. If they can hit, they can't pitch. If they can pitch, they can't hit. That is exactly why I did not bother to put highlights up tonight, because this is a perfect representation of this Mets team right right now in 2025. It is not one thing, it's the other, or it's the two others, and then the two others do it, and then the one thing that doesn't do it for them is what sinks them in a loss. It is just insane. Let's see. Omar Nunez says, the problem is that Mendoza doesn't read his players very well. It's been all season, not just tonight. And I don't absolve Mendy of all of the problems with this team, guys. You know that. I have called him out on things. I have said I want to see a little more fire from him. But also, this team, the players themselves, the guy in the batter's box, the guy on the mound, the guy on the base pass, just not getting the job done. Just not getting the job done. And there needs to be some accountability placed on these players for their performances as well. So that's how I'm feeling about it. Let's see. Absol says Cohen needs to do a real makeover of this team for next year. Build around Alonso, Soto, and Lindor. Everyone else, I really don't care. Honestly, there's got to be some major changes this offseason. I mean, unless this team wins the World Series, and even if they do, there needs to be some major changes and overhaul of this team. And I think a lot of it is going to come in the form of the debuts of a lot of young guys, like Carson Bench, potentially Jet Williams, Ryan Clifford, Jonah Tong. Obviously, we'll see McLean tomorrow, and then maybe even Sproat in the later portion of this season as well. I can't believe SMY got to play me. Kyle Schwarber hitting a 3-run homer. Thanks so much for showing us these highlights right here, guys. So yeah, I think this team is going to look different next year, but we shall see. But I truly do believe if they don't make the playoffs, Mendy is starting the season in 2026 on a burning red hot seat, 100%. D Legend says, I am really starting to wonder how Cohen is being so patient with Cohen with this. Cohen needs to address this sooner than later and send a message to the team. Guys, I don't know what else he could do. He's the owner. He could fire somebody. He could. I get it. He could fire somebody, but I just, that's it. That's it. He has put his money where his mouth is. He has spent big. He has improved Citi Field. He's improved the fan experience. He brought in David Stearns, who we all pined for. He's one of the brightest baseball minds in baseball. Yes, obviously, track record, not looking so good at this very moment, but he has done literally everything we have basically asked him to do to this point, and there is nothing left for him unless you want him to just willy-nilly fire someone. And if that's what you want, then you're going to be saying the same thing next year when whoever takes Mendoza's job makes a bullpen decision that you don't like. And I'm not calling anyone out specifically. I'm just saying that you can't have a rotating door of managers and of general managers and front office executives and ever expect to have stability and a form of culture. So give this a little bit of time. Give this a little bit more time. And I get it. I'm pissed. I am just as pissed as any of you, if not more. Because after these games, I got to come on here and I got to talk about these games. And it is ripping my heart out. But you've got to give these guys a little bit more time. I'm willing to at least see it out through the rest of this season. And like I said, if they miss the playoffs, if this trend continues for the Mets and they miss the playoffs in 2025, Mendy is on notice. You better get off to a good start in 2026. And as far as Stearns, we will cross that bridge when we get to it, as far as how he performed in the offseason, what he did to address this roster, and to give us an explanation for what he did for the roster entering this year. So I'll get off my soapbox, but I understand the frustration 100% from you, D Legend, and from everybody else. D Rails agrees with you, D Legend, so I get it. There are many people that feel that way, and to a degree, I do agree with you as well. So, Omar Nunez, playoffs? Did you just say playoffs? Who's that, Jim Mora? Was that his name? I think that was Jim Mora, right? I don't know what team he was coaching, or who. I think it was college football or college basketball. Was that it? I don't remember. No, that might have been the NFL. I could be wrong. Rod says, man, I would rather bet the Jets winning more than 7 games this season than the Mets going to the playoffs this year. Hey, that is a sneaky bet. I could see the Jets winning 7 games this year. I really could. And honestly, the odds seem way better that the Jets are going to win 7 games than the Mets making the playoffs here based on what we have seen here for the last 2 months. Not a bad wager there, Rod. Absol says, I remember in the beginning of the season when they were winning, making such a big deal of the Mets not losing a series yet. They can't seem to win one anymore. Man, this is what, 4 consecutive series after the one with the Braves, and now the Mets need to win the final 2 of this weekend in order to avoid losing their 5th consecutive series. My goodness, guys. My goodness. This is just insane. The Mets have, 2 wins since the All-Star break, I'm pretty sure? 2 wins. 1 against the Giants, 1 against the Braves, and that's it. Swept by Milwaukee, swept by Cleveland, swept by San Diego. Was that before or after the All-Star break? I can't remember. That was before the All-Star break. Either way, 2 wins since the All-Star break, guys. This team is rotten. They're rotten from the core. Insane. Let's see. Jimmy James C. Andy, the fans have been great. They're bringing real energy to the stadium. I asked them to come out, and they did. Thank you. Cohen accidentally made this post to X page thinking it was a reply. Yes, I saw that. Cohen tweeted that. He meant to send it to Andy Martino. Andy Martino said something. I don't remember what it was, but yes, Cohen is not exactly the most technologically literate as far as tweets and Twitter, so he accidentally did that, and Mets fans had a good laugh about it. I mean, you can laugh at this team too, just like we can laugh at the owner making mistakes like that on social media. And then Omar Nunez, I think I will watch tomorrow's game just to watch McLean. And then the Little League game on Sunday. After that, I'm done. I am going to be watching both, but that Little League game doesn't do it for me, especially because it is on ESPN. And that is going to blow ass because it's Carl Ravitch and Eduardo Perez. These guys really do not have a good time. Eduardo Perez. And then he goes into the Spanish. Just shut up, Eduardo Perez. Shut up. You were driving me insane, man. I can't stand that guy. God, he's the worst. Anyway, I'm going to be excited to see Nolan McLean pitch tomorrow, guys. I don't have any calls in Discord right now, so here's what we're going to do in the meantime. We are going to go and take a listen to what we have to hear from our manager, Carlos Mendoza, and the rest of the Mets after another brutal loss, 14 of 16. Guys, it just doesn't seem to have an end in sight. It has been one of the worst stretches of Mets baseball, perhaps in my lifetime, and that is saying something. Again, given the expectations, it is fair to say this is one of the worst stretches of Mets baseball. 14 of 16, a blown lead in 9 of those games. So let's hear what Carlos Mendoza had to say about his bullpen, who continues to cough up games.
A lot of talented arms. Why do you think that it's been going the way it has as a group recently?
Because they suck.
Look, it's hard to describe, especially with how much talent and elite arms that we got back there. These are the guys, some of those guys that we brought in here, and you could say that that's one of the strength of our team. When you get the lead after 5-6 innings, you feel good about your chances. And the past week or so, we haven't been able to do that. They're going through a stretch here where it's really hard as a unit. We got to get them back on track, because for us to get to where
got to get them back on track. Got to get them back on track. That's the buzzword I'm talking about. Got to get them back on track. We know they're good. We just got to get them back on track. That is what has been driving me nuts about Carlos Mendoza and is making me want to stop supporting him. Because I have been giving him the benefit of the doubt, saying that it's got to be the players. And, don't get me wrong, there are some managerial decisions, some bullpen decisions that he makes that are bad. And you have every right to criticize him for going back to Helsley today after he blew the game yesterday. But it's hard to describe. We got to get back on track. You can't keep saying that. It's been 2 months, man. Do something about it. Say something through the media to this team that this is unacceptable. And if it keeps going this way, you are not going to make the playoffs, man. And you know what? From Mendoza's perspective as well, there are 30 MLB jobs in the planet. 30 MLB managerial jobs. And you have one of them. And if you don't want to lose that, you better whip this team into freaking shape, dude, or you are going to be staring down the barrel of being in jeopardy of losing your own job, man. That is just what I'm talking about. Let me go back to the chat really quick before we listen to another thrilling one. Absol says, Tony, that Eduardo Perez impersonation was spot on, dude. He's so bad. The nose, the just speaking intermittently in Spanish, the fast talking Eduardo Perez is horrible, dude. He gives me just goosebumps in like the bad way. Like, oh God, I can't stand him. Carl Ravitch, man, I grew up loving Carl Ravitch because Baseball Night, or what was that? Baseball Tonight, right? Wasn't that the show? I can't remember, on ESPN. I loved Carl Ravitch, but he is not a play-by-play guy. And Yankee fans want to talk about David Cohn being such a great announcer. He is more boring than listening to paint dry, man. Oh my goodness, I cannot stand the ESPN booth. They are trash. Omar Nunez says, yeah, I get that. Hate ESPN, but I love seeing little leaguers interact with them. Hopefully the Mets don't embarrass themselves in front of them. Oh, they will, 100%. And like I said yesterday, the little leaguers probably should shield their eyes when the Mets go out to the field, go on the mound, or into the batter's box. Just basically don't watch this game, little leaguers, because that is going to teach you some really bad things if you watch the Mets play. Don't do what they do. Max Value Max says, it's hard to describe. Dude, describing it is a large part part of your job. Figure it out. Spot on, dude. Max with the dunk on Carlos Mendoza right there. Describing it is a big part of your job. 100%, man. I am with you on that. Great comment from Max Value Max. Omar Nunez says Mendoza's a politician, not a manager. I can't with him. You need to stop giving him the benefit of the doubt. LOL. Look, I am only from the sense that, like, guys, he's not in the batter's box. He's not on the pitcher's mound. And yes, he has made mistakes for sure. But at the same time, I also would like to hear a little bit of fire out of him for just a ridiculous stretch that they're on. So I get it, Omar. And like I said in last night's stream, and like I am saying right now, I am getting closer and closer to saying that Carlos Mendoza is not that guy. Guys, I don't know why my camera was off there for that long, but here I am. Now you guys can look at my ugly mug again. Sorry. Anyway, let's see. Max Value Max. David Cohn makes me miss Tim McCarver, which is wild. Dude, just go back to what's his name and the old guy that does the radio for the Giants now. They obviously Joe Morgan, RIP, but that was so great, dude. And a lot of it's like nostalgic for me because that's what I listened to on Sunday Night Baseball growing up as a kid. But man, that booth was so freaking good. And that dude's still around calling games for the Giants, right, on the radio. But anyway, enough of that. Unfortunately, yes, the Mets do play on ESPN on Sunday in the Lily Classic. Let's hear some more comments from Mendy on the Mets bullpen.
Well, I mean, bottom line, we got to start playing better. We got to,
okay.
Especially
I like that.
When you get the lead, we got to be able to shut those games down. And again, too much talent back there. You're talking about 6, 7 guys that had closing experience or capable of getting the last 3 outs of a game. And now we're asking guys in the 6, 7, 8, and you feel good about your chances. I don't think as the other team, when they come into, to these plays, like if they're trailing after 5 or 6 and know what we got there, it can be a good feeling, So they're going through it right now.
Yeah, really? Because I think it's been nothing but good feelings for the opposition when they're leaving Citi Field lately, especially when they see this Mets bullpen that has just been absolute dog shit now over the last couple of games. I mean, just unreal stuff from the Mets bullpen lately. I mean, it's just insane what has happened to this team. Like, it's so funny because I have no faith the Mets can hit any other team's relievers. This lineup just seems to just go down the shitter as soon as a reliever comes in, as soon as a guy with a new look comes in. Meanwhile, I am holding my breath on every pitch with the Mets relievers, even guys that came in that had outstanding track records and resumes in the form of Helsley and of Rogers. And I just feel like they're not going to get the job done. But if they were on the other team, they would carve this Mets lineup up. And I don't get it, man. Maybe it is my just neuroticism from 30 years of abuse from the New York Mets, but I'm sorry, it keeps happening, so maybe I'm not that neurotic after all, and I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate to this too. Omar says, Tony, the SF Giants announcer, John Miller, love that guy, amazing voice and play-by-play. Dude, he is elite. He is so freaking good at play-by-play. The way he can use the rise in his voice at the right moments, he is such a gem. Hall of Famer. If he's not already, he better be, and I bet you he probably already is. John Miller is tremendous. Jimmy James C says, I would love to be playing the Mets right now if I was any team in baseball. What the hell is Mendy talking about? I mean, the way they are going right now, and I had Mariner fans commenting on the stream yesterday saying, oof, good thing we're coming to play you guys tomorrow. This sounds good. Also, by the way, how convenient that the Mets just happen to run into all the teams that are red hot right now. We are part of the Brewers' 13-game winning streak. We were playing the Guardians, who entered that series having won 16 or 17 out of 23. And then the Mariners, who have also been red hot. How freaking convenient. And I say it again, guys. God hates the Mets. He hates the Mets. There's no other explanation. God absolutely despises us. We are the redhead stepchild of New York sports. He hates us. It's just insane. There's no other explanation at this point. Max Value Max, we were so good at jumping relievers last year. This year we hit starters and then go to sleep after the 6th inning. Yeah, 100%. And that's if we actually hit a starter. I mean, look at yesterday. Could barely touch Bryce Elder. Gets through 7 innings on 84 freaking pitches. But that's because this team can't hit lefties. It's too hard to hit left-handed pitching. If we're the Mets, we can't do that. So What happens? They don't end up doing enough against him. They score a little off the relievers. There's an error mixed in there from Atlanta, and then the Mets bullpen blows it. Like freaking clockwork, guys. Yeah, Omar Nunez says, no, you're right. I have the same syndrome. We all do as Mets fans. We are scarred by this team. We have the scars on our body to prove our Mets fandom because we have seen this movie over and over where you just don't think the Mets are going to come through, even against the guy with an ERA over 5. But then the Mets best reliever or a guy they just acquired who's one of the best in the league at what he does can't get the job done. We have seen it so many countless times in the history of this franchise, guys. It's crazy. Let's hear what Sean Manaea had to say. Not the best outing, obviously. 3 home runs. He does get through 5 innings, gives up 4 earned runs. There's a little bit of concern rising for Sean Manaea at this point as well, guys, and he's probably the least of their 10 other worries. But let's hear what he had to say.
Just with everybody, like, is there any optimism that you guys can turn this around? Like, how are you guys feeling right now?
Yeah, I think, as much as this sucks.
Stupid question.
I feel like
What's he supposed to say? No, there's no optimism we can turn it around. What a stupid question.
You grow from it, you learn from it. But, at the same time, nothing's given to us. Nothing's going to be given to us. We control our own destiny. And
yeah, barely hanging by a thread. Half-game lead over the Reds in the wild card. We're just lucky that the Brewers bailed us out tonight with a huge game. But hate those kinds of questions from reporters. I've been in those scrums asking coaches and asking players questions about things, and that is just one of the most annoying questions. What is he going to say? No, there's no optimism that we're going to turn it around. No, the season's over. We suck. Like, what a just stupid question. He's obviously looking for a little soundbite that he could put in his article that he's going to write up later tonight, but just such a dumb question. Guys, if you haven't already left this video a like, please go ahead and do that right now. Really appreciate it. I am very close to 2,300 subscribers. Really pumped about that. I am trying to get to 3,500 before the end of the season, the regular season that is. So please subscribe if you have not already. If you have Mets fans in your life, send this video to them as well. Have them watch it either on replay or live when I'm doing them here. Post-game recap after every Mets game. So really, really appreciate it from you guys. Couldn't be doing it here without y'all. And speaking of y'all, let's go back to the chat here. Omar Nunez says, can't trust any reliever. I flinch after every ball that's thrown. I mean, dude, it's just crazy. How many times does it feel like there's a 3-2 count when the Mets reliever is pitching and you just know it's going to be a ball or it's going to get rocked, just like tonight with Raleigh with that leadoff double in the 7th inning. Whereas if the Mets hitters are up 3-2 count, it's going to be a picture perfect pitch for strike 3, either looking or swinging. I mean, it's just insane, man. It's just been like everything that can go wrong is going wrong for this team right now. So bad. Chris Goodwin says, I have never seen a worse stretch in my entire life. If this manager doesn't lose his job after this collapse, what are we doing? I personally have to agree with you. Given the expectations, I have never seen a worse stretch of Mets baseball in my life either. This is just insanity at this point. The amount of different ways that they have lost, the amount of heartbreaking, ugly losses mixed in there with just hapless baseball is just absolute insanity. And yes, it is an indictment on Carlos Mendoza. Like I said, if they don't make the playoffs this year, they don't turn it around, I am starting him on the hot seat beginning 2026. And if they don't have a good start to that season, he is gone by May. He is gone before June begins, if that is in fact the case. Let's hear what Francisco Lindor has to say about the Mets right now and whatever.
Last year
Who
when you
really
guys were
cares?
going through a really bad stretch. The entire course of that season, as I'm just trying to.
Guys, I'm not a big rah-rah type of stuff, it's just at the end of the day, we ain't all in this together, and we got to play for each other, and just, I said it last night, when we win, we're going to win together, when we lose, we're going to lose together, it's just, if I were to...
Yeah. Great. Yeah, he looks beaten, man. He looks defeated. Francisco Lindor looks like he's over it, man. Like he's just defeated. Not that he doesn't care, but just that he has had enough. He can't take it anymore. And you know what? He's a perfect representation of us as fans, because I think most of us are feeling the same way. Bring on football season, because we can't take this anymore. It has just been miserable. They lose another game in the standings to the Phillies tonight. Could have been 3 games back had they taken care of business against the Braves. 6-0 lead on Wednesday. Yesterday, a very winnable winnable game, and yet the Mets blow that series. And then tonight, blow multiple leads. 9 times in their last 14 games, they have blown leads, multiple leads at that. It's just a disgusting, horrible time for the New York Mets. Let's see, CB24203. This team ran off the tracks in June, yes, and they hit into an orphanage. That is how catastrophic of a season the Mets are having right now here in 2025. They are just absolutely horrific. Max Value Max says they won't fire him. His contract ends after 26. Stearns won't want to risk the organizational reputation of firing 2 managers in a row after 1 bad year. After 1 great year, it is what it is. Exactly what I'm saying. There's got to be some stability. I'm giving him at least the start of the year and to see how he does for the first 2 months, because if they go out without a whimper here into 2025 and miss the playoffs based on how they're playing right now, and then they start it the same way next year as well for the first month and a half, Carlos Mendoza, goodbye, you're gone. And I didn't think I would ever say that, not after what we saw from him last year, leading them to NLCS Game 6 after at one point being 11 games under 500. But this year, it seems like it's just going in reverse. They go from 23 games over 500 in the first few months of this season to now just 6 games over 500 and one of the worst records in baseball. So it is what it is, folks. Chris Goodwin says, guys, if the stability doesn't work, you change it. That is true. That is true. But you got to give it a little bit more time, in my opinion. And look, like I said, not a long leash, but at least the first month and a half or 2 of 2026. Again, all pending if the Mets don't make the playoffs and how the rest of this season progresses. But it's pretty clear and obvious this team does not look like they are going to bounce back anytime soon. So I get what you're saying, though, 100%, Chris. He says if they don't make the playoffs, Mendy can't be back. No way. I mean, he's got that contract, and it was a very good point by Max. Doesn't want to risk the reputation and having trouble hiring future managers if they know that the trigger is so, an itchy trigger finger for Stearns and for Steve Cohen to fire a manager the second things stop working. So I agree with you, Max Value Max. I don't think they're going to fire that, but I do think, like he says here, that Chavez and Barnes contracts will be gone or at the end of this year. One move they could make is fire Hefner. Wouldn't be against it. Honestly, wouldn't be against just getting rid of the entire coaching staff out from under Carlos Mendoza. He did not hire Eric Chavez and Jeremy Barnes. They have been here since 2022 when Buck Showalter was here, and same for Jeremy Hefner. So I would not be opposed to firing this entire coaching staff, letting Mendoza start afresh new. We are putting those guys in place if I'm David Stearns, not Carlos Mendoza's choice. And then we can see how he performs. And if he doesn't fit the mold from there, then so be it. Goodbye. But don't forget, Stearns hired Mendoza. This was his first hire. So don't forget it. Let's see. By the way, also pretty good track record hiring Craig Counsell in Milwaukee before he ended up departing to go to Chicago. Don't forget that. So he's got a little bit of a track record in hiring managers. Let's see. Chris Goodwin says, if the Mets don't win another game this year, are you bringing back the manager? Of course not, but that's not the case. They're going to win another game this year, at least one, I think, right? No, but if that actually happened, which is impossible, that will not be the case, then of course not. Carlos Mendoza is gone. But I mean, look, if they finish under 500, now all of a sudden I might be talking about it. Yes, if the Mets actually finished under 500 this year, then yes, I would strongly consider firing Carlos Mendoza. I will give you that. If it's even 81 and 81 and even 500, then yes, I will give you that. I'd strongly consider firing Carlos Mendoza. Max Value, I love it. If they set the losing streak record, sure, yes. Okay, there. You got us there, Chris. What can I say? You got us there. Jimmy James says, we may not win another game, to be honest. Not based on how it's been looking, guys. Not based on how it's been looking. Omar says they aren't going to make it at this point. I don't them squeaky. You don't see them squeaking in or sneaking in because it'll mask the flaws and they'll be one and done. Okay, that was a tough one for me to read. Sorry, Omar. Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's basically sneaking in unless they go on some crazy streak and the Reds start losing or the Phillies start losing. But even then, I'm sorry, I just don't see how they're going to turn around, especially with the strength of their schedule coming up, guys. It just does not look good for the Mets. Here is Brooks Raley, and I'm disappointed because here on SNY, they post all of the post-game interviews and nothing from Ryan Helsley, who has just been horrific and blown back-to-back games. But enough to interview Brooks Raley, who obviously didn't have a good night either. I would have liked to have heard from Helsley, but let's hear what Raley has to say about the slump that the bullpen's in.
Unexplainable is that?
Great question. Not sure I have an answer for that. Haven't seen anything like this. Been playing a long time, but I feel like everybody in here is doing everything they can to show up and play hard. And I mean, our offense did that tonight. Those guys were great. You scored 9 against a team like that. You feel like you should win the game, and I was part of the problem. We didn't get it done. So I thought Mendoza did a great job battling out of that, and Rogers got damage, and I was gonna try to help him, and it didn't work.
It's just that's just exactly what that thing was on the screen earlier, guys. Remember? I don't want to click that. It's this right here. Just if it's not pitching one day, it is the hits, the batter's not getting the job done. If it's not the starters one day, it's the bullpen. If it's not the bullpen, the starters didn't go 4 innings. It is just something different every day. We didn't get the job done. I didn't get the job done. They didn't get the job done. It is always something different with this team, guys. It's inexplicable at this point. Let's go back over here for a second. I don't think there's any more sound bites that we need to listen to, but CBC 24203 says, at this point, I'm just sick of looking at the guy making up excuses. Yeah, 100% with Carlos Mendoza. I get it, man. I feel the same freaking way. It's just ridiculous. Max value, Max. I don't see how anyone could beat the Brewers. Definitely not us. Again, I think the Brewers are peaking a little early, but we have no chance if we were to play the Brewers. No chance right now. And even if we somehow miraculously made the playoffs, I don't see that happening. Crazy to see the Dodgers in the wild card spot ahead of us right now. The Dodgers are in the second wild card spot right now. That is insane, bro. Padres are just playing out of their mind. Again, a team that I think might be peaking a little too early, but obviously I'd rather be in their position than I am here where I am with the Mets right now. Joe says, would you replace Mendy with Gibbons? No. And a couple reasons why. Gibbons never won anything in Toronto. There were a lot of questionable pitching decisions he made in playoff series during his time as the manager of the Blue Jays. And as good of a bench coach as I am sure that he is, he just looks old. He looks a little slow for a managerial job. I just don't know if that's the right speed. I mean, that's kind of how Buck was. He was I think Buck had more energy than John Gibbons probably does at this point. You just see Gibbons, and I don't mean physically, but it's kind of a representation of him. Just the way he kind of is waddling out there on the field in the few times where Mendoza has gotten ejected from games. So I would not replace him with John Gibbons. I think he is fine as the bench coach for this team, but I don't think I would make that move, especially if I'm firing Mendy. But Bruce Bond says, go Mets. Yes, go Mets. Oh, I hate this team so much. CB24203 says, Cohen gets mad when fans talk about the past and mismanagement. Now he's starting his own legacy here. Steve Cohen is finding that it is more difficult to make billions on Wall Street than it is to turn the Mets franchise into a winning and stable organization. How about that, huh? Who could ever have believed that? Not me, man. Not me. Chris Goodwin said, Jimmy James C says, Mendoza needs to flip a table, something, anything, show some passion, take the ping pong table out of the locker room. I'm kidding. I don't even know if there's a ping pong table, but take all the fun and games out right now. Or if there are no fun and games, put some fun and games in there. Do anything. Do any change for the sake of change at this point, because this is just unbelievable, guys. Chris Goodwin says, I can't believe Mendoza said it again. We have elite arms and we have to get them back on track. Oh my God, he said it again. It's like a broken record over and over and over. And this is what I'm talking about, where Mendoza's starting to lose me from his corner, man, where I'm not sure he is the guy for the job if he's not going to start calling out some of these guys. But let's see. CB says, he pitched 5. Who pitched 5? Huh? I don't know. 5 whole innings. Oh, for Sean Manaea. Yes, 5 whole innings for Sean Manaea. Give it up for Sean Manaea, guys. 4 runs in 5 innings, right? Just what a heck of an effort from him. Just unbelievable stuff there. Yeah. Guys, let's do this. Let's preview tomorrow's game, even though I really, truly don't want to, because we all know what's going to happen. The Mets will have a new, heartbreaking, awful, ugly, terrible way for us to experience a more painful loss once again, but we're going to try our best here. We're going to try our best to keep it together while we preview tomorrow's game. If I could find it, here we are. All right, let's see. So yes, Brian Wu, who has pitched 6 innings in each of his starts so far this year. I believe, no, not a rookie. This is his 24th start of the year. And so far in 23 starts, Brian Wu has gone at least 6 innings in each of them. Could you imagine if the Mets starters could do that? Even just one of them could go 6 innings every couple of times out there. No. Don't think so, but really good numbers for them this year. 308 ERA over 146 innings. Struck out how many batters? 145, so nearly a strikeout per inning for this guy. He has got some really, really good stuff. So 25 years old, young man. Funny because we came into this series and all I kept hearing about is how the Mariners pitching staff is what carries this team. Meanwhile, their offense just exploded for 11 runs on 16 hits, including 9 doubles and 2 home runs. But hey, I guess that's what happens when you're playing the Mets, right? There it is. And of course, we will see the debut of Mets rookie right-hander Nolan McLean. We are all excited about this, of course. In AAA, had a 2.78 ERA so far this year over 13 starts and 16 appearances. Had a 1.37 ERA in AA Binghamton through 5 starts before getting the promotion. But we are really, really excited to see this guy. Seems like a gamer from everything that scouts have said. So I am pumped to watch it. Hard to say that with how bad the Mets have been playing, but hopefully this is a look into the future for this team and we'll get something, nice performance out of Nolan McLean. Mets 2128 is trying to give a call into the show. So we got 2 waiting in the room here. So let's go over to the call in here and we are going to welcome in our first caller. And I believe it is Mets 212. Wait, what's up, man? You're on the line. What's on your mind? Nope. Here we go. Let's try that again. Mets 2128. You are on the line. What's going on, my man? Nope, you're out. I don't know what happened. All right, we're going to Hot Rod instead. Hot Rod, you are on the show right now. Give it to me, man. What's on your mind about these Mets right now?
Oh boy. I'm no longer mad anymore. This is just like I'm just expecting them to lose.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just expected. Like I have the same mentality for them as like the 2018, 2019 like Mets. They're always going to lose and they're just going to continue losing. And that's the Mets way.
That's how it feels, man. That's how I feel every time you bring in a new reliever. Every time they take a lead, I go, how long is this lead going to last for? That's just literally how it's been for the last 2 months. How are they going to lose this one? What are they going to do to screw this game up?
Yep. I would like to bring you some attention today. I am more worried. I saw something interesting on when like free agency in the 2025-2026 season for free agency, and has really scared me as major players have the chance to opt out. For example, like Edwin Diaz, Pete Alonso, Cedric Mullins is going to be a free agent. A lot of players are going to be able to opt out and go into free agency, which really scares me, and really because those most like are our major players, like Pete Alonso and Edwin Diaz, most likely, and them having the chance to opt out and just fly is concerning.
Well, we knew that about Pete Alonso, obviously, because of the contract that the Mets signed to him. We knew this was a 1-year deal where if he didn't perform well, we'll get next year, and at that point, we'd probably be over him already. He's having a really solid year. He's probably going to opt out, but the Mets don't have the luxury of now saying, well, we could put Mark Vientos at first base because look what he did last year, because look what he's doing this year. So I think the Mets are going to work to get a deal done with Pete Alonso, and I hope that they're going to get it done quickly in free agency. As far as the other names you mentioned, Diaz has been lights out. He is also getting further and further on the wrong side of 30 at this point, despite being excellent this year. So maybe something gets worked out there. Don't lose any sleep over Cedric Mullins. I mean, we knew that because we traded for him, and obviously he's not been very good so far as a Met. But look, honestly, there need to be some massive overhaul to this roster. There need to be some changes, because if not, we're going to be looking at the same team that we're looking at right now next year anyway.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
I mean, it is what it is, but, you know, I asked you last night, Rod, do you think they make the playoffs? You said no, and so I'm not going to ask you that again here today, but tell me this, man. What is the biggest problem with this team right now? Because I can't pinpoint it myself.
Just to not sound like a broken record and just not say, oh, consistency, which, I mean, it is one of the major problems. I mean, now it's just up to them they're not playing without a soul. They don't have a soul. They're just showing up and just not doing anything.
I like it, man. I like the way you put it.
And yeah, they're playing without a soul. And like a bunch of someone just needs to go out there and just tell them, hey, if you don't want to show up, just don't show up. Just don't come to Citi Field and just play without a soul.
Yep. I mean, that is how it has looked.
I wish someone told them that.
It's been a bad stretch of baseball. There have been some lethargic looking, uninspired performances from a lot of guys on this team recently, and it has all added up to losing 14 of 16. Rod, thanks so much for calling in, my man. That was a great call from you. Guys, it is bad. Soulless is how they have looked. Truly, it has been horrific. I'm going to try you again here, Mets 2128. You are in the show right now, so if you're ready to speak, make sure you're hitting that volume button on your speaker there. You're live. Floor is yours. Let's hear it, man.
I'm going to be blunt. If after what happened in last night's game, where basically I went off a bit on Mendoza last night, and this game is a straw that breaks the camel's back with how stupidly he's been gambling with the bullpen. But I would have gone further, but last night, Juan Soto beat me to the punch when he told Mendoza to get lost because he's a numbskull.
Yeah, he told him to get lost. How exactly, though?
He called him Carlos. He doesn't know what he's doing. With all this pitcher gambling. And that's what it's boiled down to. 14 of the last 6, most of these games have boiled down to Mendoza being a psychopath with gambling away games with a pitching core. Again, why go to Hesley when you have a more reliable arm with Soto? No logic to it.
Yeah. No, I understand. And I don't remember the exact pitching matchup or hidden pitching matchups of that inning. I'm going to try to go find it right now. But who would you have gone to if not Soto? Because Soto had obviously pitched 2 games in a row, and that's why he was unavailable yesterday. And honestly, pitching him 3 out of 4 games is pushing it as well. So if not Soto, let's just say, for argument's sake, he's not available. If he's not available for argument's sake, then who would you have gone to instead of Hesley?
Wait a minute, time out. I don't remember him pitching on Wednesday.
He did. Against Atlanta, he did.
At what point did he? No, it was just Peterson, Garrett, and then Blackburn on Wednesday night.
You could be right about that, honestly, man. You could be right about that.
Tuesday night.
Okay.
He had 3 days rest.
Yep, I have it mixed up. I think you're right about that. I think you are.
Why not go to him?
It's fair. It's fair, but at the same time, you got Julio Rodriguez and Eugenio Suarez, who are both righties. Cal Raleigh is, I believe, a pinch hitter, if I'm not mistaken. So
that was Dylan Moore.
Dylan Moore. Right. So, look, I'm not saying you're wrong at all, man. I think it's crazy to go to Hesley 2 days in a row.
Oh, Hesley can't get 3 outs. Don't put him in.
Yeah.
The same thing with Lee Garrett. With men on the base pass, the same thing with Ryan Stanek in a 1-run game. Why does he keep making these psychopathic, insane gambles that drive me up a wall to where I want to pump his guts full of lead?
All right, no, we can't be doing that. Come on now, relax. We can't be talking threatening and violence here, but I'm going to let you finish off here. Give me the recipe. How does this team get back on track? Mets 2128.
Regardless if they get to the playoffs or not, 26. Pink slip Mendoza for his gambling psychopathy, number 1. Number 2, get me a manager who is not a Yankee holdover, is not an over-analytic gambling psychopath, and give me someone who is far more logical with decision-making.
Okay, fair enough. He laid out a three.
That's the answer that Mendoza has become. Or at the very least, give him the Ludovico treatment to make him realize his gambling habit is wrong.
I hear you. We all hear you. Mets 2128. Mendoza does not have a fan in Mets 2128. That is very clear. Excellent call. Brings the passion. Appreciate that from you, Mets 2128. That was an excellent call. Really appreciate it. Yeah, don't get me wrong, guys. Mendy did not manage this game well with the bullpen. He has not done it many times in the past, and especially on back-to-back nights going to Hesley after he just blew that one. So he did not get a pass from me at all. It was disgusting and horrible, but at the same time, can anybody on this team do their job? Can Sean Manaea not blow 2 separate leads while he's pitching through 5 innings? Can Tyler Rogers not come in and give up a run again? Seems like that's like the 2nd or 3rd appearance in a row that Rogers has given up a run. Can Brooks Raley come in and not give up a 2-run single and a walk and a base hit up the middle? I mean, it is just different. Insert the name and just put the line next to it, and it's believable. It could literally be anybody on this team on any given night that screws up. It could be Beatty making an error at third, or it could be Vientos, or it could be Mauricio. It could be Juan Soto 0 for 3 with 2 Ks with runners in scoring position, or it could be Brandon Nimmo. It could be the Mets starter. It could be Frankie Montas only going 3 innings, or it could be Sean Manaea or David Peterson or Clay Holmes. I mean, just insert the name to the final line and I will believe you, because nobody on this team, on this roster, is doing their job. And that is why we find ourselves where we are right now, guys. It is just so bad. Guys, I have time for about 1 or 2 more calls. If you do want to call in to the show, go ahead, do that right now. Go to the link in the description of this video to my Discord and I will pop you in when I see your name. But quickly, in the meantime, I am going to take a look at the chat and catch up on this, but I do want to take another call or two if you guys are waiting. Mets 2128 just set a high bar, and so did Rod with their calls back to back right there. So really good job. But Jimmy James C says there's nobody on the team I'll lose sleep over losing, in reference to Rod's concerns about how many guys are going to be free agents at the end of this year. I mean, I gotta agree with you there, Jimmy James C. There is nobody that I'm going to be upset with potentially leaving this year. I mean, obviously Pete, for the nostalgia's sake, and because yes, obviously he's having a good year. In terms of Diaz, of course I'd love to keep him, but if he is going to push himself out of a, what's the word? I can't even think of the words. Again, the Mets have turned my brain into mush, but if it becomes a ridiculous asking price for Edwin Diaz, I'm willing to say, okay, goodbye, and go find somebody else on the market or develop a closer. 100%. Can the Mets ever develop a closer? Is that allowed? I mean, we tried with Jerry's Familia, Henry Mejia before that, but can the Mets just develop a closer? Does it have to be this big free agent signing? By the way, Johan Duran left today's game for the Phillies. He needed to be carted off the field, so they may have just lost their closer for the rest of this year. Does not sound good for them, but hey, who even cares? Because we're 6 games back now, and we're not catching them no matter how many blown saves they end up having at the end of this season. Let's see. Uyokoko, I can't say that name. Uyokoko 78. Mets made the same mistake as the Jets. Went all in on one guy when they had so many holes. Need an ace. Can't win with C-tier level pitching and need at least 3 bottom of the order bats. Needed 100%, and I think some of that is going to be filled in by the likes of the kids, the Carson Benjes, the Ryan Cliffords, and the Jet Williams heading into next season. And I think they're going to make some meaningful additions and trades to improve and lengthen this lineup. But the starting pitching, there's no more of this. We got the pitching lab. Let's just sign guys on the cheap. No, I said it earlier in the stream. The Mets need to sign a bona fide veteran ace to anchor this rotation going into next year. Then you also have Sean Manaea. You have Clay Holmes, which we'll figure out what we're going to do with that whole situation. You have David Peterson, and then you're going to have Jonah Tong, and you're going to potentially eventually Jonah Tong, and then hopefully Brandon Sproat and Nolan McLean, who of course we'll get to see tomorrow. But there need to be some major additions up and down this roster. All right, looks like we got another call here. I can't see the name. I think it is R. Who is R ... I don't know. R ... You are on the show. What's up, man? What's on your mind?
Tony, can you hear me okay?
I got you, R. What's up?
All right, man. Hey, I just want, first off, you're awesome. The show's all glad I'm able to call in and talk to you.
Thank you.
So I think we need to stop giving Mendoza some leeway. When we think back to last season, we talk a little bit about he led the team to the playoffs, but the reality is before that players meeting, they were garbage. And then it took a players meeting to get them back in order. Even this season, they talk a lot about how they miss Iglesias and Martinez. They don't talk about Mendoza's leadership from last year. And now without those players there that were leading, Mendoza's struggling. So I really don't know how much runway we should give him or how much space we should give him before he really does need to be on the hot seat. I know we talk about giving him until next year, but he has not shown that he's a leader as a manager. He hasn't shown that he's able to get his guys kind of riled up, round up the troops and get them going. I mean, when we think of some of the other managers, even in the East, right? You think of the Bobby Coxes, you think of the Lou Pinellas that have existed, the Dusty Bakers. Those are guys that were able to get their team riled up, get them going. Mendoza just doesn't seem to have what it takes to do it for this team, man. He didn't do it last year. The unity amongst the players themselves kind of hid that. but this year it's showing pretty brightly. So I wanted to get your thoughts on that.
I think that is an excellent point there by you, 100%. And I mean, it is insane that you could remove a 37-year-old DH who was at the twilight of his career, performed pretty well for the role he was in, but obviously you could tell JD Martinez was on his way out. And then in the case of Jose Iglesias, a journeyman that had his moments and was really solid for the team down the stretch, but you know, hasn't had a great year with San Diego this year. And so maybe last year was just a little bit of lightning in a bottle, but insane to think that you take those two guys out of the mix and this team is just kind of falling apart at the seams. So yeah, I think that is a very good point by you, that maybe Mendy did not have as much of that magic elixir as he got credit for last year. Maybe it was a player inspired thing. Let me ask you real quick, if you're still there with me.
Yeah, I'm here.
What is it that you think could turn this team around? And do you think Mendy is capable of being the guy of doing that?
So I think they genuinely do have, for the most part, the talent on paper to turn it around. I just also, I mean, think about it. I mean, they're humans, and just because they're professional athletes, it's still a job, right? So think about any time you've started at a new job or you've gone into a new environment, right? Hopefully we've all had good managers that have kind of welcomed us, helped us kind of get acclimated, supported us, kind of given us a little bit of a rah-rah, and then we probably all had managers that sucked. And I think when you look at guys like Rogers, Helsley, Soto, new guys to the team that have track records of being good, and then you think of Lindor, Alonso, and you think of the players on this team that are struggling. I mean, this is an entire team struggling. And it's, to me, that's a leader who's not able to say, all right, guys, let's get together. What do you need from me to support you? What can I do to get you riled up? I know we all talk a lot about yelling and flipping tables, and that'd be nice for us to see because we've seen it work in the past, and that may be cool. But I don't even think he knows how to sit with the players. He is super nice to the players. He's friendly. They love him because he doesn't beat them up. But I don't know if he really knows how to talk to them and communicate with them to say, hey, guys, what do we need to do? Talk to me. What can I do to support you? Come on, I got your back. He does it in this half-assed way through the media, right? Oh, they have a lot of talent. I think he says that because he thinks that that's not going to hurt their feelings. So I think talent-wise, they have what it takes to turn the team around. From a leadership perspective, no, I don't think they have what they need from a leader to get the best out of them. And in 2 years, he has not gotten the best out of them. He himself has not gotten the best out of them. They did it themselves last year. And this year, they're not able to do it, and he's shown he's not able to do it.
Sure. Hey, that is an excellent call from R right there. I think that's how he put his name into Discord, at least R. That is an awesome call from you. Great point. The turning point for 2024 was the players only meeting, where it seemed like they all rallied around each other and were able to become one unit and go on that historic run to Game 6 of the NLCS. And now this year, a couple of additions, a couple of subtractions in that clubhouse, and for whatever reason, it has not turned into a good smoothie. It has turned into a smoothie of banana and toothpaste and Clorox. I mean, it's just been a terrible look for this team so far. They have not been able to become that one cohesive unit. Great call from you. And, you know, the more I hear from other fans giving their points of view on the Mendy thing, the more I am starting to lean toward that idea that maybe he is not the leader of men that I believe that he was. Maybe he was not as responsible for the big turnaround in 2024 as a lot of Mets fans gave him credit for, myself included. So I love the call there from you. Appreciate you tuning in all the time, and for the compliments, really do appreciate it. Guys, again, if you want to make calls to future streams, you could do that. Be a part of the show just like he was, and like our Mets 2128 was, and like Rod was earlier in the show as well. We are going to wrap this one up here today. I think that's a perfect way to end this one with such an excellent couple of phone calls from our viewers here. So guys, thank you so much quickly, let me just go through the chat here. Red Bear Fox coming in at the last moment. I can't find the Discord link anywhere. It is in the description of this video, isn't it? That's how all these guys found it. Or you could type it in when it's on this little stream page right here. So there is the Discord link if you want to type that in. I know that's a pain in the ass, but it should be in the description of this video. Okay, there you are, Red Bear Fox. Was that you? Was that who I just spoke to, Red Bear Fox? Was that you on the line just now? Because that'd make a lot of sense, because you are an OG for these streams and you make really good points in the chat. So that would make a lot of sense. I think it was. I think I'm putting 2 and 2 together here very, very slowly. I'm not the brightest bulb in the shed, as you guys know, but excellent call from whoever that guy was. But got disconnected. Tony, sorry about that. Good call. That was Red Bear Fox, my man, Pots and Pans. That is a great call, man. You got to get on this show more often with me. Same to the rest of you. Mark, we went from OMG hands in the air last year to OMG facepalm this year. Yes, we did. CB says they should just start doing the opposite of whatever instinct they have. Do the exact opposite. It's like George Costanza in Seinfeld. He has an epiphany. He's going to do the exact opposite of everything his gut tells him to do, and his entire life turns around for the better. I am 100% with that. Jimmy James C helping out Red Bear. Great call there from you, Red Bear. Let's see. CB says tied the Mariners franchise record for doubles in a game. Well, more teams making their own history against us. Who wouldn't know? 100% agree. Mendoza doesn't have the tough love skill in reference to Red Bear Fox's phone call. Omar Nunez says he doesn't give off the buck stops here vibe. He doesn't. He's got that tough face, but not when he talks to the media. That is for sure. Omar, see you later, man. Appreciate the kind words. I appreciate all you guys tuning in. Thank you so much. I appreciate the phone callers. Mets2128, Rod, Red Bear Fox. I appreciate all of you guys sounding off in the chat, keeping things going here. Leave this video a like if you guys have not already. Go ahead and do that right now. Really appreciate it. These streams have been going so well lately. I'm not quite already getting up to 600 people in the stream at the same time, but I'm trying to work my way up there, and I hope you guys are enjoying them and that I'm delivering what you guys are looking for as far as Mets content and Mets reaction from a true diehard Mets fan. And I'm glad that we could get you guys involved as well here in the chat and on phone calls through Discord. So that is going to do it here for tonight's stream, but we're going to be right back with another one tomorrow and more Mets misery, but hopefully at least a good starting debut for Nolan McLean tomorrow. So we will be right back with another post-game recap after that. But guys, until then, I'm Tony Metro. Thank you so much for watching. Let's go Mets. Stay true to the orange and blue.